And hello, everyone, and welcome back to Front Porch Talk. I'm your host tonight, Veteran Mountain Man, and we've got Dr. Phobos.
Hello.
Irate Prostate is here with us, but he had to step away from the mic for a second. And we have Kaz Warfox tonight.
Hello, you little faggot. How you doing?
And, of course, Tim of the Hun is going to be joining us a little bit later. So, Kaz, we are coming back to good old California.
Yay, my favorite subject.
So, California has a new law. No more all-male boards.
Oof.
Yeah, so CNN Money, New York, companies headquartered in California can no longer have all-male boards of directors. According to the new law enacted Sunday, which requires publicly traded firms in the state to place at least one woman on their board of directors by the end of 2019 or face a penalty. Now, here's where I start getting confused. Who in the hell are the legislators in the state of California to tell a publicly traded business how to do their business? Yeah, it's a publicly traded company. That means anyone can own part of the company.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't make it public property. That still means it's private property. That company is owned by the board members and by the other stockholders.
And the shareholders. As far as I know, I don't think there is any legal leg they can stand on for that. They cannot. The government can require certain things on how they apply to the general populace. You know, pollutants, labeling, that sort of thing. But how they run their company, or who they hire on the boards, I don't think they have any way to say to that.
Or how they select their boards. I mean, normally, you know, this makes no sense because realistically, the boards of publicly traded companies are elected from shareholders in the company to represent the other shareholders. So what happens if no women own stock?
Or if no women decide they want to come forward.
Yeah, or the woman decides she doesn't want to sit the board. I mean, this is beyond insanity here. This is so far outside of what government is supposed to do.
It's actually quite intrusive, huh? If you think about it.
It's insanely intrusive.
It's going to private companies that have their own section of what they're supposed to be doing because that's what they're allowed to do since they're private companies. They have their own sets of things that they're allowed and shouldn't, do, and you can't have government dictating shit like that because that just comes across as like overexerting yourself. If you're a government going like, hey, you know this, we're gonna pass a law saying that you're forced to have this entire people on this board switch to one half of a gender, just one half of that entire board. That sounds like sounds really fucky.
It really is. I mean, I don't understand how they even think that they have the right to tell, a group of people that you can't structure your company this way. You have to structure it this way. I don't understand who the California legislators think they are.
Well, I'll tell you who they are. They're the kind of people who only listen to a select group of people with blue hair and pink hair who spend 24/7 complaining about politics on Twitter while they're slamming their heads against a tackle box trying to make themselves look prettier somehow by having a bunch of fishes and hooks in there. That's what they think. That's what they think makes them look pretty. That's the kind of people they're appealing to on the politics side of things, and they don't really understand this concept that's a relatively small fraction of what the rest of the California population wants.
It's a screaming minority.
Yep,
It really is. It's the only thing I can think of that would satisfy this.
Mm-hmm.
So, California State Senator Hannah Beth Jackson told the Wall Street Journal last month, when this legislation passes, that 1/4 of California's publicly traded companies still do not have a single woman on their board, despite numerous impediment studies that show companies that women on their board are more profitable and productive. Now, I would love to see these studies, because I'm betting these studies are BS feminist propaganda studies. Because I'm betting you the companies that have these women on these boards that they're claiming are more profitable had probably had women on their boards for quite some time. And, the other thing is that you can't just assume having somebody of a particular sex on your board is going to create X, Y, or Z. Realistically, it comes down to how shrewd a business person the person is on the board. And the idea that, no offense, but I have a vajay, that makes me better at determining what the board should do, is realistically sexist, isn't it?
Yeah. It is. It's another example of what they call bigotry by low expectations, where they assume that in order to take care of the, quote, oppressed class, we must force the will of that group upon everyone else because reasons.
The bigotry of soft expectations.
Yeah.
Is that women cannot possibly compete on equal footing, so therefore you have to give them equality of outcome in order for them to compete, which is half-ass reasoning.
It really is. I mean,
it's sexist. If they really want to try and find all the misogynists, the sexists, the racists, all they have to do is look at themselves.
Yeah, check their own backyard.
Now, there was a landmark study in 2006 that critical mass on called critical mass on corporate boards. Opponents argue that pressure from quotas will lead to unqualified female members and potentially discriminating against qualified male candidates. When quotas are not set, however, companies may fail to diversify their ranks, she points out. To more aspirational legislators in other states like Pennsylvania, where in 2017 resolution argued both publicly and privately traded companies to have a minimum of 30% of women on their board by 2020. But without teeth in the law, Kramer said. Better numbers won't follow. Now, something else I wanted to bring up is that this is another push by the feminists to insist that women have the same desires, goals, and general dispositions that men have. And it's just not true. I mean, there are so many psychological studies that prove this factor to be false. Now, it doesn't mean that there aren't women out there with ambition. There are. And if a woman is discriminated against unduly in business, then that's definitely something we need to consider dealing with. But creating these quotas, I mean, it goes back to the University of Michigan and their affirmative action policies that gave black students who applied an automatic 200-point bonus on their SAT scores. I mean, how is that fair to any other group of students?
Well, the question that should also be asked is, how are you actually going to be able to so-called meet this quota? Do you honestly somehow think that, that by doing this, you somehow introduce a lot of women to the field through the usual means, or are you going to do something like you're going to run out of women because there's not a lot of women who are inherently into getting to that position? So you'd be like, oh, you see these chicks from gender studies? We're just going to throw them in here. meet the quotas. It makes no sense. How are you going to enforce that shit?
Exactly.
Who are you going to get this pull from? Are you going to get it from people who actually are experienced in some field? Or are you obviously going to go around and just be like, okay, well, we need to get this quota in, so we're just going to randomly hire people? Because apparently hiring a bum on random ass on the street is somehow going to do the job just as efficiently as someone who trained for years to be on that job, apparently.
The alternative is forcing somebody to do it.
Yeah.
It's that when somebody goes to school and says, okay, here's your test, you take it. Oh, you wanted to study art? Nope, you're going to business. Too bad. Enjoy.
Yeah.
Or this is something that if you want to prove that men and women are different, let's see. I'm trying to figure out. All right. Say take a lens that's fallen out of a pair of glasses, right? And you give it to female, or even you get one to set up Wi-Fi in their house, right? With simple just picture instructions, or even assemble a model of a body like a human figure or something without instructions. The males are going to be more likely to be able to do all of that stuff a lot faster if without any kind of because it's the inclination, the way their brain works. They're just different. And that probably just pissed a lot of women off, but I'm okay with that. Prove me wrong. And there's exceptions to all the rules, right? We know that. But
now I just need to make a meme with irate on like sitting on the back of that like picture. Just be like, women and men and women have biological differences. Prove me wrong. Change my mind.
Change my mind.
Change it.
Deserve a cup of tea.
Well, and it's not just even in that situation. I mean, realistically, there's a lot of differences between men and women, and it doesn't mean it's bad. It doesn't mean it's wrong. It just means that there are differences. And Kramer said that California's new legislation is weak compared to the laws in Norway and other European countries, which require a certain percentage of women on boards. For larger Norwegian companies, the legislation requires that women make up to as much as 40% of the board.
Well, that's the question. How well are they doing with their economy? I would like to know that, because the last time I've checked, every time they try to compete with us in terms of economics, they fail. So they have to throw a shit ton of tariffs at us all the time just to try to, quote, compete. So I would like to fucking know the statistics as to how their economy works, how well and healthy it is when they have policies like that, which I don't think it is. There's a lot of statistics to show that that could be the case that they're when it comes to how well their economy is doing because of women. Well, there's a lot of things that suggest otherwise, buddy.
Well, and once again, I still would like to see this study that she's claiming that companies who have women on their boards of directors are more successful. Because I would actually like to look at the methodology of that and look at how they came to that determination.
Yeah.
Because like Adamantine and I last night were talking about it, and there's a lot of ways you can manipulate statistics to create a false result.
Of course, yeah.
One can be manipulating your sample size, another can be, polluting your sample. And in this case, I'm betting that the sample is polluted because I'm betting you the companies that have the women on their boards aren't necessarily more successful because they have the women on their boards, but are more successful because of some other reasons as well.
Yeah.
That's using a selective data set.
Yeah, it's using a selective data set to create a false positive. Yeah.
Confirmation bias.
Confirmation bias is the people who pretty much accept that and use that as truth without
Oh shit!
Ooh man, you okay there?
Wow.
You not
sorry about that?
Yeah, right.
That's my fucking sinuses. I meant to mute on that. I apologize, y'all.
Yeah, that's an interesting sound to go along with that GIF of yours.
You like that?
Yeah, that's Mother.
Yes, Her Majesty giving birth to ears I guess was what we call it. So, yeah. I was just seeing if gifs or gifs, whatever the fuck you want to call them, work in this thing. Here's the latest one. So that's all my information for everybody to see. See? I have nothing to hide.
Looks like Dr. Ford's police record.
No shit. Oh, dude, did you hear about? I've got to find this though. But there's somebody that's online that has all those yearbook stuff that was just magically wiped off the interwebs.
Yeah.
Somebody showed up with they had like saved copies and stuff. So somebody already had screenshots saved of some of those, and they said it's very racist. What else? There it was, of course, there was, it was the early to mid '80s, man. I mean, shit. I understand exactly, what that's going to look like,
I do too.
But the racism was really what was really the most prominent, sticking out to everybody. It was just like, and it was faculty endorsed, implying that maybe blackface with girls and males and females.
Oh man,
so,
that's just going to give him more ammunition to try to delay his proceedings even further, man.
No, it didn't. I mean, shit, that just discredits her. And I think
her stuff. Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, not him. Hers. Her elite school that she went to. Something arms, Hazaford Arms or something like that.
Also heard that she put on. She co-wrote a paper dealing with the creation of memory or something like that.
We were talking about that last night. Yeah, she used the term artificial conditions to. I'll give me a second and I'll look that up because I had it last night. I was just reading from it. So let me look at my history and I'll just give me a second. Y'all talk amongst yourselves. But yeah, so we're going to go down the road here and talk about the obvious turd in the punch bowl. This huge thing. It seems like a lot of people though are real hopeful that he will get confirmed.
Well, I'm looking here at a piece from the New York Times, and it's about a letter from him and a party set. Now, they're trying to make this out to be some sort of crazy thing. But he's talking about a beach condo that they were going to lease. It says, I will not be there until Sunday night because I'll be in Ireland. Therefore, one of you must take the lease to Leland's Realty and pay the remaining money, which is $398, $50 from each of us. The place is on, and it gives the address. If you guys want to get in on Saturday, you must arrive at Leland by 7 p.m. on Saturday. The money must be in cash. One of you has to grab the bull by the horns and take charge. We must supply our own towels, sheets, pillowcases, blankets, etc. Our problem down there might be too many people. We're going to have to decide while we are there who we want and don't want. Possibilities for stays of a few days more. Now, I hate to say it, but that doesn't scream to me anything other than planning a get-together with his friends.
It sounds like they're going to rent a cabin on the beach, right? It's like not like I've done this like 4 or 5 times back when I was in my 20s. You'd pull your money together, you'd get a nice house, you'd go in, you'd party like hell, and then you'd clean it up and leave,
Yeah, it sounds like he was preparing for a party or something.
Yeah, exactly. Getting ready for a party house.
Yeah.
On the beach, a nice one. So back then, that's a lot of money,
Yeah, it was. And I mean, these guys weren't exactly, poor, working class kids, they were definitely well off to be able to afford that. But nothing in this screams in any kind of impropriety at all. I mean, hell, if anything, it sounds like teenagers being teenagers.
Okay, all right. According to the Federalist, reporter Sean Davis was the said that she was the co-author of a 2008 study that examined the use of hypnosis to, quote, assist the retrieval of important memories and to create artificial situations for treatment.
Yeah. We were talking about that a little yesterday.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, she definitely is looking far more suspicious at this point than anything anybody could even want or hope to have.
And I think I put some stuff on your Discord about some of her connections. That every day something new comes out about who she's connected to. That there's this Hollywood connection with her niece, but that just tells you that it sounds like to me that she's from what I would call Cali clout. Chelsea Clinton. Oh no, it's not Chelsea. I'm sorry.
Well, she mentioned that she just lives basically down the road from Google.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I found this interesting. She hosts Google Interns. And Google Interns. And it's like, okay, wait a minute. She is allegedly so paranoid after this that she's had 2 front doors installed on her house. Yet she has these interns come over, whom she may or may not know well, but that's a crowd. And most people I know who have those kind of issues have problems with crowds.
Yeah. So it also looks like the brother of Dr. Ford worked for the law firm that hired Fusion GPS.
Exactly. That's what I was going to
produced the fake dossier about President Trump, and everybody should remember the infamous P-Gate scandal.
Yeah.
Which was created by the Fusion GPS group.
Well, no, it was purchased by them, right? The guy that wrote it, it was a total troll from 4chan. The guy was bragging on it on 4chan and saying, "Watch, this thing, is a hoot, and he didn't. The way he was writing, he didn't think much was going to come of it because it looked ridiculous, right? And then 5 months later, they're talking about this thing like it's real,
yeah,
So they're the ones that purchased it from supposedly the guy who wrote it through a British former intelligence officer or some shit. But it was really funny how it got to him. But
I have to say this. I just heard some lovely thunderstorms. So we've got lightning within 5. So if I disappear suddenly, that's why.
Okay, not a problem. We understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, thunder is the technical term for cloud farts.
Mm-hmm. Here's the lie, though.
That's fog. Rain is cloud P.
God, why are you pissing onto me?
Yeah, just don't ask what hail is.
So what side of the
those are kidney stones, huh?
What side of the country you on?
You've had weather training.
Yes, I have.
Oh God.
Yes.
But yeah, so it seems that more and more as more evidence is brought forward about Dr. Ford and this whole situation. I mean, it's driving me more to believe her less. realistically.
Yeah, same.
I mean, and it's hard to say that because I didn't really buy her. I can't remember when it happened. I can't remember how it happened. I can't remember what time it happened. But I know it was him.
And I'm seeing more and more, everybody was complaining, not everybody, but a lot of people were complaining about the Republicans' choice for the person that questioned her.
Yeah.
Now I'm seeing more people in retrospect saying, holy shit, she just let her hang herself,
Yeah.
Because there's so many inconsistencies. And, and when the guy wrote it out, in one of these articles I read today, it was like, my God, it was inconsistency after inconsistency. And then I watched a video that, to back it up, because I really wanted to sit, because I said last night, I didn't really see the whole thing. So I wanted to hear it from the beginning to the end. And it was like, man, I can't believe they even took it as far as taking her, as even giving her a fucking polygraph.
Yeah.
And then the conditions for that, like, holy shit, y'all, really?
You got more fucking holes than Swiss cheese. You fucked up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
There's a channel on YouTube that has analysis of body language.
Yeah.
And she just ripped her apart.
Yeah, is she the one that calls him Kavana?
Yes.
Kavanaugh. Yeah, she's fantastic though. I mean, she was like, going all in that pretty pose where she's like looking over the glasses, but she's talking in that baby doll voice.
Yeah.
And then just invoking that. That will be typing multi-time sound out of her voice when she's reading the upsetting shit. And she was really good at pointing out that she went from that to like laughing right at the very end, when they were asking for her to break, and she said, well, I'm used to comedy, blah, blah, blah. And la la la, giggle, giggle, giggle,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's totally where we get the consistent story from, guys. Some person who's talking about being raped, and then like when she says something that's obviously got inconsistencies, she laughs like she's playing some 4chan joke on everybody.
Exactly. That's a great way to say it.
Yeah. Yeah, colored me shocked. Yeah, how dare I be skeptical of that?
Well, now, one of the things that kind of upsets me about this whole thing is I'm worried this is going to cause a bunch of women who actually are assaulted to not come forward.
Well, you're not wrong, and see, this is a talking point I agreed with somebody. I can't remember who. I know it was. I think it was talked about on a Politipod show with Aiden. It's like this is going to cause the death of the Me Too movement because of how fucked the situation is. And a lot of the women who probably might actually been sexual assaulted are probably not going to be listened to now.
It's horrible.
Shit like this. This is also why I say, I think I said on Twitter somewhere, this is why activism is a joke. When you trust people with your voice to talk about something, they will almost 90% fuck you over with it. In this case, about women sexual assault survivors, yeah, you got fucked over, sadly. It's a fucked up way to say it, but you've been fucked over. Because you gave your voice to people who said they were fighting for you, and they fucked you in the ass.
Right, and if you were really raped, you've been raped again.
Yep.
No, and that's what's pathetic about this shit. Right? No, that's the whole deal about rape. It's usually when most rapes occur with the person they trust, and it's first the abuse of trust, and then it's all about taking your power away, right? And that's exactly what they're doing. They're abusing these people's trust, and then they're taking their power away from them for political gain.
You're not wrong there. You're really not.
Fucking disgusting.
The big difference is just the way they're doing it. They're doing it in a much more legal way.
Well, yeah, and they're telling them, we're doing it for your own good, and you're helping all these other people in the future. It's like, come on, take one for the team. You know, and if it was them, they would be like, you know, what the fuck? It really pisses me off, man. Because I worked with so many people that have been sexually abused and molested, and you know, and it's just and it hurts them. You know, it damages them, man.
It really does.
Yeah.
Now, I did want to talk about, has anybody taken a look at this new listen and believe legislation that Senator Feinstein is pushing forward?
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Talk about that.
So basically what she's trying to do is she's trying to make it legal across the country for anonymous sexual assault claims to create a police investigation.
Holy shit. Wow. That'll shut your political opponents up fast, won't it?
Yeah, it really could. And this is part of the problem.
Isn't that unconstitutional?
Yeah, because you have the right to face your accuser, which is going to violate that.
Exactly.
And I don't disagree with you on that, Dr. Phobos. That's actually what I was going to bring forward, is that this realistically is unconstitutional. It's going to damage the Fourth Amendment so far that nobody will be able to recover from it.
No wonder they don't want Kavanaugh in there.
Yeah, Kavanaugh would definitely reject this kind of a concept, you know. Bless you.
Sorry.
You all right there, man?
Yeah. I think the allergies have got me today.
Oh, man. And, of course, not only is, you know, Senator Feinstein pushing this in Congress, apparently Governor Moonbeam out there in California is pushing one similar. Isn't that right, Kaz?
Yep.
Governor Moonbeam.
Oh yeah, good old Jerry Brown. He's trying to push a California listen and believe law that will allow, you know, anonymous accusers.
Yep.
I hope any of my female listeners think about this, because this realistically is some of the extremism that fourth wave feminism is pushing for. When you can destroy a person's entire livelihood and life through an anonymous accusation, it's disturbing that they're going to even attempt to do this.
Yeah. And it's basically like anything else when it comes up in court. How are you going to fight against a claim when you don't even know who the fuck's making them?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, how can you prove you weren't with that person if you don't even know who the person it is that they're talking about? You know, you'll know who you were with, but you know how it makes it very difficult to bring evidence against an accusation when you don't even know what the accusation is or who's accusing you.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know who is making the accusations, what purpose is behind it, exactly in detail as to what the accusation is supposed to be about, which I have a feeling that as well the law, some clause will probably include being extremely vague about what's being told. The information, I'm pretty sure. Because, you know, they'll make the argument of, well, we have to be anonymous about it, so therefore any key points and information that could lead to the quote abuser figuring out who's saying it would be automatically blocked. Therefore, you're not going to know all the details likely as to how that's going to work. So that's another side of bullshit right there. It sounds like to me it could easily be put into a situation where all you're going to get is bullshit and vagaries at most. If you're being hit with an anonymous report or something.
Crazy.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, like, listen and believe, am I right? That totally hasn't fucked over the victims involved. No, totally not. Totally not. Jesus, these fucking people.
Yeah, it's amazing that people actually believe that this is that this is what justice should be. Because I mean, how can we expect to have a fair legal system?
Well, I think the answer is pretty simple. I don't think these people want a fair system.
No, they don't. That's exactly, you broke the code there, bro.
Yeah.
I think, as usual, with the social justice retards and all these other groups, is like, to them, a fair system? Fuck that. It's only fair when it's in our favor.
That's right.
So all of this shit I'm seeing is just another example of them refusing to accept the fact that rules are rules, despite regardless if it benefits them or not. And then they're just like, fuck that. Let's just go around and make everything life harder for everyone, just because we got butt hurt that it didn't help us the first time. It's like, you thought one Kavanaugh was bad. How about we make several Kavanaugh cases? That's going to be great. Oh, yeah, these people.
It really is. It's insane, man. I just don't understand how they can.
Well, and it's just the whole idea of punishing the white male,
Yep.
Because he's a white male. It's just they honestly refuse to honestly see the what word am I looking for? That it's not just a paradox, but it's just like it's totally disingenuous when you say that you're not being a racist in doing that, or you're not being sexist and you're doing that, because that's exactly what you're doing. You're targeting people because of their sexuality, their gender, whatever the hell you want to call it, and their race. But it's like, okay, boy, the white males have been in power long enough. It's like, I want you to fucking come to my goddamn apartment and point to where my fucking power is. The only power that I got is I pay $100 and something a month for it from Alabama Power. It's the electricity. That's the fucking only thing I've got that can be called power. 120, 110 volts.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I think this is something that I've been thinking of for a while now, mainly because I think strategies in that, and I'm trying to figure out what their purpose of all this is. And yeah, the end goal is going to be power, but all of this is going towards eliminating any possible resistance.
Right.
Well, it comes back to the socialist policies, man. Realistically, feminism is communism in a skirt. Mm-hmm. And the first thing that you have to do to be able to beat the bourgeoisie is destroy all vestiges of society, norms, religion, social constructs, the family construction. All of it has to go.
Especially if it doesn't favor you.
Otherwise, you can't create the new utopia that you want.
Yep.
Well, that is just not functional in my mind.
Yeah, it isn't. But at the same time, that's exactly what they want. They don't care for the functionality of something. They just care for their little escapades against what they perceive to be power and injustice, until it's them in power. And they get to be the ones that rule what is justice and injustice, instead of an actual fair system, like proven until innocent until proven guilty.
Innocent until proven guilty. Yeah.
Yeah, which should be maintained entirely, because you need a system like that to actually try to bring some level of fairness to all of this, and they don't want that.
No. When you have to redefine what innocent and guilty are, because that's how socialism is, man. We've got to redefine everything, so that and create these quotes constructs. I really don't like that term when it comes to my language, Well, all words are made up. It's like, well, no shit. But I mean, we all agree on the meaning of, this word and that word.
Yeah.
these like really, I guess they're straw man arguments, that these people just, they'll just prop themselves up on it, man. And shame you when you challenge the shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you have to challenge it, or you end up getting it shoved down your throat. That's the big
Exactly.
problem.
Well, yeah, and in 10 or 15 years, you're going, why am I in this gulag, man?
Oh, yeah.
And the guy on the other side of the door says, who cares?
That's what's going on in schools right now. I mean, they are essentially force feeding it to you. You're not getting the education that you should be getting for what you're studying. You're getting indoctrination. And there's been so many times where that I've had classes where we're not talking about the text, we're talking about ideologies.
Right? Yep.
And it's a matter of that.
Not only that, man.
You change the definitions, you change the way that people think.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, and here's what's even worse, man. I was looking at this earlier. There's actually a video right now of Ocasio-Cortez, the socialist in New York, that is running for Congress. Let me give you the article here. Democratic Socialist Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez shows her extreme lack of knowledge about the basic roles of the three branches of federal government during her speech on Monday, suggesting that after she is inaugurated into office, she will begin signing bills into law.
Wait, no, wait. She can't even name the three branches of government that we have. She can't even do that, and she wants to be a politician.
No, she is.
Yeah,
she's an elected official, bro.
Oh my fucking god.
Yep.
See, here's part of the problem with this whole socialist push of America, is that, when you create these narratives and you create these, constructs and all of these, social setups, you don't actually create the knowledge and understanding and foundations to allow people to think. And if they can't think, then they're no good to anybody. And so we have literally started to cripple our society by, instead of, teaching children to think, by indoctrinating them.
Oh, God.
Well, it's not. Don't worry. Don't think for yourself. I'll do the thinking for you. This is what you need to know.
That's exactly
what it is.
What's that? I thought that was a joke. Says the socialist. Oh God, these people. Now that does actually legit piss me off. Like, not even kidding. That's just like, you don't even know what the branches of governments are, and you want to be in Congress. Okay, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Oh my fucking lord, people! This is the kind of shit. People used to be about bad education in America, but this is it. This is bad.
Yep.
Well, this is beyond bad. This isn't even education.
Well, and I hate to use it, but it's like it's the Obama educational system, and I don't, it would have been the same thing had any other. So this isn't about skin color, okay, y'all. It's like that. This was the plan. All right, is to create what they did was that they totally indoctrinated an entire generation of children, right? Maybe two, if you think about it. But think about if you were first grade when President Obama, who they pretty much turned into, cult of personality. You talk about, they turned him into practically a god.
They really did. They were singing "Obama Loves the Little Children."
Yeah. Not Jesus loves the little children.
Yeah.
Oh God, that could be taken in so many ways. Why?
It could be. But they were singing elementary schools in Chicago and New York and Detroit.
He's our savior.
Oh, that is so culty. Then again, that's not surprising. That's
cult of personality. That's why they call it that, man.
Socialists, like especially with socialism, communism, they're basically everything about them is derived from that aspect. That's why they always at each other.
It's twisted religion, man.
Yeah. Well, let's replace religion with the religion of statism, because that's great, apparently. Or no government somehow when it comes to communism. That's still...
remember your statism is like it's you're a fascist. Our statism, the right kind of statism, because like you say, reasons, right?
Because the big guy in the office says so. Because he is dear leader, and he knows more than me.
It has come down from on high that thou shalt not do that thing which thou shalt not do. For it has been commanded from up on high not to do it.
What's that from the History of the World, Part 1, where Moses comes down? He goes, I bring you these 15, and then when the tablet drops and breaks, these 10 commandments. It just reminded me of that for some reason. Make chicken salad out of chicken shit. These 15, these 10 commandments.
Jesus. That's great.
You've never seen that, Kaz?
No, I think I've seen that.
It's funny.
If you haven't, you definitely should. Mel Brooks,
oh yeah, there's a scene where it shows cave people, and it shows a guy draw the like the hunter and the critter on the wall, and it says, and now we see the birth of our first artist, and then it shows a guy come up and starts pissing on it, and the birth of the first critic. It's funny, man. Mel Brooks is I wonder what he would say about this shit, man.
He said that he could not make Blazing Saddles today.
He couldn't.
Yeah, I think he's also having an issue making the sequel to Spaceballs because I think he realizes he can't really do it the way he wants to.
Mm-hmm. At this point, when it comes to comedy, a lot of good shows and like movies that were made in the past for comedy, you probably couldn't get away with any nowadays, especially not the Boondocks.
Oh yeah,
especially not them.
Oh, the cartoon?
Yeah, the cartoon.
Yeah.
The Boondocks. Yeah, you're not going to get away with that shit.
Oh, man. You realize that, Jerry Seinfeld says he doesn't tour college campuses anymore because he was getting far too much issues with the social justice warriors and how aggressive they were about what he could and couldn't say.
Yeah.
Well, you see that thing that Crowder did when Shapiro came to University of Utah?
No, I must have missed that one, man.
He did. Basically, they infiltrated a group of Antifa that were talking about getting weapons and such.
That's right.
Oh, wait. Yeah, I did remember seeing that. Yeah, he sent in Not Gay Jared to infiltrate him.
I mean, I know every location where they were filming. And it's like, I'm going like, oh boy. I'm surprised I didn't get stabbed for wearing my Kekistan t-shirt.
Oh man, yeah. Yeah, that could have been bad, man. Because they believe all those Kekistanis are Nazis,
wasn't that
man.
Steven Crowder in his thing where he I remember seeing that one. That was pretty funny because it's just like, it was a super cringy thing.
Well, and then the chick gives, Not Gay Jared the knife and shit. And I'm going, what a fucking imbecile. It's like we're in the same club.
It's just so funny when I look at that because it's just like you got these group of guys, Antifa, that think they're actually like being super spies and shit. And they're just like, they were so easy to infiltrate by a small group of dudes and what have you over that. It was pretty funny.
Yep.
It was just so cringy. We're gonna get weapons. We're gonna use Telegram as a fucking site to say, let's use weapons, guys. Let's gather weapons and shit. My fucking god.
I saw. I think it was on Quora. Somebody was talking about potential civil war. And
a lot of people have been talking about
we're in a cold, that's not the argument. The discussion is that are we or are we not in a cold civil war at this moment?
Mm-hmm.
I think realistically it could be argued both ways. I really wish it wasn't.
Yeah. But it's people are talking about, well, we need to have, a lot of the states would leave the union because they're liberal, and I go, okay, let me ask you this. The likelihood of a hot civil war happening, how likely are you to take up arms and kill or be killed for what you believe?
I'll tell you right now, man. I'll tell you right now. I mean, I'm looking at my SKS. It's about 3 feet from me. Do we need to go?
I mean,
the funny thing.
I mean, I don't have any firearms. Okay, hear that, FBI? I don't have any firearms, and but I have melee weapons, and I have no problem killing or giving my life for what I believe, and I'm an old cranky veteran, and I gave an oath. Yeah, I gave an oath to protect the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
Yep.
And no one has relieved me of that oath.
No, they never do. And in fact, man, if you want to go melee weapons, I've got a couple of those even closer than my rifle.
Yeah, I've got a spiked mace just about 5 feet from me. I have no problem with having firearms. I had a problem buying one once.
Fucking brass knuckles and a knife, man. Shit.
Put them in your pocket. When I keep
it's actually a felony to own brass knuckles in certain states. Sorry.
I believe that's a tip of the
Hey.
I keep asking.
Hey.
I always keep asking people in terms of, because I like getting in this debate about what constitutes as a civil war and how you're going to actually make one happen, because it's funny to me where I see people going, well, we're going to go to a civil war. I'm like, okay, you do realize that the only way a civil war is going to go off is if you have politicians and certain states decide to join in on your side and make the economic sacrifice to dedicate their economic power to produce any weapons of war, right? They're like, you also do realize that it would pretty much just be a unnecessary bloody mess, because a lot of cities would get sieged, a lot of people are going to get shot, and a lot of states are going to waver, because it takes a lot of economic power to justify a civil war, first of all. And second of all, just like that, you're not going to have a civil war if nobody wants to join your side. At worst, if no state is joining your side, it's just going to be a bloody series of skirmishes, and that's the most that's going to happen. Nothing about fucking tanks or weapons of war or weapons of mass destruction. You're just going to get fucking slaughtered wholesale.
Well, I think what's going to happen is that it's going to be kind of a slow encroaching thing where independent agriculture and some of the more artisan style, like steel fabrication and private stuff like that, you're going to see those people start refusing to do business in the cities. And you're going to see a lot of these farms, now that they are no longer bullied by NAFTA, you're going to see them buck and stop agreeing to work with the corporate farms and start selling stuff on their own again. So I think you could see a supply cutoff to the cities.
You know what, Sarah? I was going to say, do you know what, Atema? Right now, this morning I had fresh breakfast ham from a butcher shop that's about 16 blocks from me, that the family who owns it has owned it for over 70 years, and they still smoke their own hams from the pigs that they slaughter and sell it directly to their customers.
And it's probably a little cheaper, huh?
It's amazing, and it's much cheaper.
Yeah.
My grandfather was a butcher, and I mean, he could slaughter, quarter, anything. I wish that I was had better contact with him when he was alive, so he could teach me, because I have no idea.
There are YouTube videos for that, man.
Yeah.
Loads of them. That's how we learned how to butcher a goat and a turkey.
Oh, okay.
That's how we learned how to do all of our stuff for homesteading. It was YouTube and research and how-tos and research and YouTube, and learning on the fly is how you do it right. At least that's how we did it, right?
Big trick is to be gentle with the knife so that you don't puncture the organs inside when you're dressing them.
Yes, or have somebody with small hands like mine around that could go in there and manually remove. Yeah, fun, good times.
That's good advice, because that's probably something that I wouldn't have thought of.
Yeah, gut hooks are really, really good idea if you're going to be, slaughtering and dressing your own game or animals, because they keep you at a very shallow depth when you cut the abdominal open to remove the internal organs. Anyhow, off of the slaughter of animals.
I know. I'm like, I haven't eaten anything yet today, so I'm like, oh.
Smoked some fucking pork, man.
Right. Oh, God.
Timma, if you want to talk about food, they had some 2-year-old ham that they had hanging for 2 full years. And it was sliced nice and thin, and you could taste the hickory, and oh my God, my mouth's watering just thinking about it.
That's called a redneck prosciutto, man.
It is. It is.
Beautiful. Love it.
And you know what? It's just as good as good Italian prosciutto, and it's actually a little less salty.
Well, and if anybody says, look, it's not good smoked shit unless it's hickory, man. Fuck your applewood and mesquite and all that stuff. I don't have a palate for that stuff. Hickory.
I like cedar.
I have to admit right now that I'm a lifelong member of PETA. People for eating tasty animals. So I had to admit that.
Well, if God didn't want us to eat animals, he wouldn't have made them out of meat.
There you go.
Exactly.
Vegans like, hey, you can live without eating meat, then how do we get the calcium?
Yeah.
There's a lot of holes in those arguments. There's also like a bunch of what word am I looking for? Enzymes and shit that we have to.
Well, that's why I love arguing against vegans. They're such a goddamn cult on the internet that like anything you say against them just pisses them off, and it's great.
They get autism and shit.
Well, some of them straight up made death threats to me before, and it's fucking funny as fuck to watch you be like, "I'm gonna fucking kill you, Kaz."
Even before the internet was widespread, when I was living in Michigan, I had a D&D group that had a husband and wife. They're both vegans, very vegan. The husband, is like, okay, yeah, if you eat whatever, I don't care. The wife was like, oh my gosh. One day we're sitting at the table, and one of the other guys basically slaps a mosquito or a gnat in the air, and she goes, "Oh, did you know that was a living thing?" And now it's a dead thing.
Not anymore. Exactly.
So, guys, this just actually came across my feed. In a sworn statement provided to the Senate Judiciary Committee, a man who claims to be the ex-boyfriend of Christine Blasey Ford says that he personally witnessed Ford coach a friend on how to take a polygraph exam.
So figured out ways to cheat a polygraph?
Well, there are a lot of ways you can cheat it, Kaz. Mm-hmm. One of them is to be in an abnormal state of emotion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or squeeze your butt cheeks together. I'm telling you.
No, seriously, if you can keep your
clench
pressure
just right.
It's a blood pressure thing.
Yeah, if you keep your blood pressure at the right, you cross your toes and press down on one of your.
Just to be truthful, though, you gotta clench it just right, just before you crack something in between those cheeks.
Well,
Cass, that's just you.
It's similar to what they teach jet pilots. Before they had those the pressure suits and shit, that they had to like clench like their whole bottom half, so the blood will stay in your fucking because if you're in a high G turn, the blood in your body will leave your eyes and your brain, and you'll pass out. You usually go blind depending on how high of a G turn it is.
Yeah, it's called a red out.
Yeah, exactly. But losing consciousness cannot be. Can be a horrible thing. If you at the wrong time, it's like, I'm coming out of a head rush. Holy shit! Is that the ground?
Yeah.
But yeah, if this is substantiated and found to be viable, then it just basically means the attempt to give credit credibility to Dr. Ford's testimony has evaporated.
Jeez, man.
That's because
like
their
morning
attempts.
fog.
But we needed this FBI investigation, right? We needed this because now it's sworn testimony. That means it's been done under FBI investigation, right?
We're gonna do a week of FBI investigation, and the Democrats will be like, "It's not enough. Do some more," and they're just gonna keep doing that for however long people allow
Senator
it.
Feinstein's already yelling about that. She says that a week isn't going to be enough. It needs to be a month.
Yep. See, exactly. They're gonna
How
keep dragging
convenient,
this on.
huh?
Oh yeah.
Imagine my shock.
Imagine my shock. I am shooketh to the core. I am so fucking shocked, guys. You cannot fucking believe.
Well, next thing you're gonna do is you're gonna tell me water's wet, the sky is blue, and
the sky isn't blue because Trump said the sky. God, trust me, guys.
Robot. Somebody
You
hearing
were
a robot?
Yeah, you were roboting a bit there, Kaz.
he's become Cyberman.
Casual.
Airbox.
I was going to say, Dora, oh my God, to foxo roboto.
Elaborate.
Well, so I figure we're gonna
It's like
stop.
talking to my 6-year-old.
I figure we were gonna end the night on a discussion about what my actual video today was.
Oh, yes.
So, for those of y'all who haven't watched it yet, I actually pulled up an article from the Federalist discussing...
Can I make a recommendation?
Sure.
I want everybody that's listening to this right now, grab something like a pencil or even a notebook to bite on while you listen to this shit. Okay?
Yeah. It might be a good idea for you to grab something to bite.
Yeah. Because you don't want to hurt anybody near you.
Yeah. And make sure you're sitting down. So, California passed a law in September that makes it legal for people under the age of 18 down to the age of 12 to seek transgender reassignment therapy without parental consent.
Bing.
Now, before you respond, let's go to the second phase here. This includes people in foster care. This also includes the viability of mandatory taxpayer-funded gender reassignment surgery for all of these individuals. Now, this is coming out of California, where you can't even buy cigarettes at the age of 18 anymore. Where they're trying to give universal basic income in different towns. The question becomes, A, why are taxpayers funding these kind of things? And B, why are we handing this power to people that aren't even in the majority?
They're not even close to being, yeah. It's let it sink in, all right, yeah, exactly. The human brain doesn't stop growing until the age of 25, pretty much, okay? It's completely fully grown at the age of 25. And that, think about all the decisions that people make before that time. And nobody would recommend somebody smoking pot, at least until they're, in their mid-20s. Right,
unless they're a dealer.
Well, my point is that there's stuff that's just common sense you won't recommend a child to do, and it's not like young people ever have like buyer's remorse or anything, and are fucking one day, especially when they're 12, it's like one day they're a goth, the next day they're a jock. It's like flip flop. They just and then there's the hormone thing, it's like you're gonna tamper with that.
It's to my point. It's that a dealer is going to suggest that kids get on drugs. That makes them dependent upon that dealer for the rest of their lives. Ergo, by doing this for all the transgenders and transtrenders out there, it makes them dependent upon the state.
Well, this is the state that gave you girls can have an abortion from the age of 12 on up without their parents' notice or consent.
We might as well be able to cut the boys' ding off.
You know, they don't even need, like, can you imagine that?
Yeah.
Can you imagine that? No, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, there is a big difference, in my opinion, to getting an abortion and intentionally sterilizing yourself for the rest of your life.
Technically, there actually isn't much difference. Having an abortion at the age of 14 pretty much means you're going to have difficulty procreating for the rest of your life because your sex organs are not ready for the abrupt ending, the termination that is created through an abortion. It's very traumatic to the body.
Yeah.
No, this is a long-term dangerous thing. And the studies were brought up at the time how dangerous it was. And California went, we don't care. Whatever.
Yeah, I mentioned before we even started the stream, California has a thing respecting the Constitution and any of that. They just tend to do their own thing. And which part you see where the effect there. How California treats this system. Let's just go and violate everything.
Well, because it doesn't matter what the previous law is. It matters about how you feel in the moment and what rule you can use to make yourself feel justified in what you're doing.
Right.
Yeah. But the idea that they're going to... I'm sorry, I'm still having even issues myself wrapping my head around how the legislators can feel or even justify that this is a valid thing, because to me this seems to be state-sponsored child abuse.
Well, and think about it. How can the fucking vote? I mean, what are the voters saying about this? Because I guarantee you that, over half the people that voted for these fucktards, will be outraged that they're doing this shit.
Hey, Irate, they stopped asking Californians what they thought after the Californians wouldn't pass Proposition 8 and legalize gay marriage. No, seriously, they stopped completely listening to the population at that point.
Yeah, they've been buying elections through illegal immigration and homelessness.
Since then. It's since then. It's been like they really ramped up that little project since then in California. Like the LA and San Francisco really truly do control the rest of California now.
It's like Revenge of the Gays, is what you're saying.
No, it's
the funny thing is they go on about shit, but it's like the unions into a lot of the California politicians.
We can't hear you, Cass, your robot.
Hold on, let me restart that.
Damn it. I want to hear what he's saying, man.
Right back, everybody. Cass should be right back.
Here he is. Okay,
there we go.
And I thought I was going to have a bad connection.
No, he's in California.
Yeah, we got you, man.
Oh, there you go. I just got a thunderstorm overhead, but he's in California, so that's worse.
The thing is, when it comes to politicians in California, they don't normal populace. They only care about your typical blue-haired radical feminist that's a tackle box every day, attempt to look pretty. Care about. That's the only people they appeal to. Everyone else has basically got no voice.
Yeah, it's the cribalists.
Democratic.
When you talk about a tackle box, what are you referring to?
He's talking about the pierced out feminists, the ones that have got 27 piercings in their face with blue.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
With the bull ring in their nose.
Yeah.
You know the ones that don't do it for artistic purposes because they want to display how the body can be augmented by putting such things in. No, not those people. The ones that just put a whole bunch of shit in their face so they look mean.
Whenever I see someone with that was a septum piercing, I just want to get a chain and then tie him up to some fence post. I'm serious. I think like Ferdinand the Bull, or like a Bugs Bunny cartoon.
Yeah. Okay.
I always just wonder, why is it something we've outlawed to do to animals we are doing to ourselves willingly? What?
Because some people are dumber than animals.
It's freedom, man.
But
Well,
okay.
to be fair, Tim, I really don't care if they want to put a bunch of holes in their face and then look like crap when they're older, because I guarantee you, every single one, most of these are going to regret all of the piercings they did.
Well, you know the dirty little secret. You know what the dirty little secret about facial piercings is? Those scars tend to turn into cysts. They turn into cystic style scar tissue. So they have a hard knot underneath them, and they don't heal well, and they age terribly. Look at Marilyn Manson.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
No, thank you.
Beautiful people.
Well, look at the scars on his eyebrows.
I don't want to look at them. Just,
okay, look at Nikki Sixx. Who else?
Look, I had dinner tonight. I don't want to look
at the eyebrow piercing.
Nikki's hot, man. What are you talking about?
Hey, I liked the dinner I had.
Look, just look at Selmo's fucking eyebrow. Wasn't he the one that had fucking eyebrow piercings in the 90s?
Who?
Yeah.
Phil Anselmo? I thought it was Phil Anselmo or the lead singer of Anthrax, one of the two.
Yeah, but not only do eyebrow piercings heal poorly, but also lip and a lot of different types of nose piercings here heal poorly.
Well,
those
Monroe's
septum rings,
and stuff. Yeah, septum rings aren't as bad, but like Monroe's and stuff, the ones that go in your cheek and go through the muscle, those can deform your face when they heal. Those can cause like nerve damage and muscle damage and stuff. I've seen it.
Yeah.
Why would you do that? But I don't know. I had a scar from navel piercing, so. And I had my tongue pierced for a while. But
you were in the Navy?
No, I had in the Navy.
Well, to be fair, Atima, I have some scars in the cartilage on my ears.
I have never had anything pierced.
Well, my ears are still pierced.
Oh, yeah, so are mine.
Artificial.
One of them spaced, but it's not because I tried to stretch it. It's just because it got torn a lot of times, and I was a dumb teenager.
Actually, I had my ears pierced at the size they are.
Hey.
Whoa.
Gauge? Okay, you got gauges or what?
Yeah, I'm at a 2 gauge, and I had them pierced at the size they are.
Well, it's not that bad.
No.
You don't look like Buddha when you take them out.
No. And Mama Lisa, the woman who did it for me, she had phenomenal hands. She still owns several piercing salons in Portland, Oregon. She's good. She's really good.
I'll keep that in mind.
I have never wanted to have more holes in my head than I already have.
Oh, my youngest 2 daughters want ears done, but I don't know if I really want to take them to have the gun done because the gun tends to lead to a bad piercing. So I was thinking about finding a professional piercist.
Yeah, if you want me to give you the recommendation as to who I'd send them to, we can talk offline once we're done with the stream. I've got a couple of places I can recommend for you.
Awesome.
Cool. Well, guys, it is 15 till, so I figure we should definitely start the show. So, Atima, let's start with you. I know you've got a list of stuff you're always doing.
Well, actually, I'm backing off the internet right now. It's probably going to be at least a couple weeks where I'm not going to be around much because getting my kids rolling has been kind of a challenge for school. So, I'm going to try to keep up with all my shows. That shouldn't be a problem. I think I've ducked out of the one that was giving me the most timing conflict for dinner and stuff, which is sad because I really didn't want to leave a show. I really like that show. But so you'll find me less. However, I am going to be trying to do an earlier in the day, hour-long show with James Jones or Daemonus Anubis and King. We're going to be doing a current events talk. They do it on their channel. It's called Conjecture, and I'm going to be coming in as often as I can. Probably most likely Mondays. I'm going to be popping in as much as I can. But that all depends on scheduling. Other than that, I'm going to try to get a show together on my channel It'll probably be earlier in the day because it works better with how our routine works here. And other than that, you can find me on social media, but you're probably not going to hear me talking as much as I used to. So maybe backing off for a little bit. Kids are needing me a little bit here. So.
Oh, I can completely understand, and we all know you homeschool your kids, which
Mommy
is
work
amazing.
first. That's right.
Hey, nothing more important. So.
That's right.
Oh yeah, you got to take care of them kids.
So,
Kaz, what are you up to, man?
Excuse the angry pupper over there. They keep kicking the dog out in the wrong attempting to do streams with people, as usual. So other than Twitter, I've been sort of streaming show I've been around and hinting at for a while now because of some things came work into it. But it's the current name for it's called the Fox Den. And I'm talking with a good few friends of mine, and we're setting up the show for the purpose of talking about a lot of topics from politics to video shit, all kinds of things. There's no real set way we're gonna set it up yet because I'm still trying to get that off the ground. But yeah, beyond.
You're roboting again, man.
How long? Hold on.
Oh,
That long.
that long. There he is. Found you.
Jesus.
And you're roboting.
There we go. I guess my internet just really hates me.
Yeah, I
today.
think your internet really hates you today, man. And I think all that discussion about what's going on in California, you let the cat out of the bag. The rest of the country.
Come on, man.
Told them what to serve man means you're in trouble. Sorry, Harry.
Last night, we were starting to get into it, and right after the 5-minute timer went down and we were opening it up, man, boom, the connection was gone. And I had to reboot OBS and shit.
That's crazy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can anyone hear me now or no?
Absolutely.
Now we can hear you, Bubba.
Other than stuff on Twitter, which you should sub if you should follow Twitter if you like my memes and shit. But I got a little show called the Fox Den. So far, that's the name, and I'm trying to set it up. We don't have a set. It's mostly just for things like politics, current video games, and memes and shit, and anime. So, yeah, there's no set date yet because I'm still trying to get a few people to talk about things, and that's hard to do when everyone else is busy with stuff. But I'll figure that out. So yeah, be on the lookout for that shit. Also, OBS up the ass, which I'm planning for it.
Okay, and I was also going to say, I might be going back to my roots and going back to focusing on things that are more philosophically important to me in the political arena. Like, there's an article about Mel Gibson, how dare he make a comeback 10 years after he said some anti-Semitic comments and was found innocent of assaulting his wife. So I'm going to probably go back to my roots and start talking about the more political side of things as well. Get back to basics.
Well, I definitely can't wait to hear that. So, Doc Phobos, what you got for us, man?
Well, I'm working on a Call of Cthulhu adventure that I'm hoping to put on Drive-Thru RPG.
Sweet.
Ooh.
Oh, neat. I can't wait to see it, man. When you get it done, make sure you give me the information on the link, and I'll put it in the shill down below.
Will do.
Totally. Call of Cthulhu is like my favorite tabletop game, dude. Oh, my God.
Yeah. It's the only one. The only game.
I don't know. I liked Paranoia because
Paranoia is great.
The computer is your friend. Make sure you tell the computer when others are disloyal.
Yeah.
Oh God, I haven't played that.
That
it's great
fun.
Stuff.
It's Great stuff. I can't believe there's a tabletop I haven't played.
You create 6 identical characters when you start the game, and those are your clones. And if you have a character alive at the end of the session, you've got a bad storyteller in Paranoia.
Okay.
I've played Paranoia about a dozen times. We have never finished a single adventure.
Yeah. You never should.
Half of them never got out of R&D.
Oh, so it's just like Call of Cthulhu. The goal isn't to survive. The goal is to see how long you can keep your sanity, but you're not going to make it. You know you're not going to make it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
And unlike Call of Cthulhu, which is actually serious, Paranoia is comedy.
Okay, so it's more like All Flesh Must Be Eaten or something like that.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah. It's great fun.
Because that's rather tongue-in-cheek. It's good fun. It's like Shaun of the Dead, but a tabletop game. I love All Flesh Must Be Eaten.
Well, Paranoia is more like 1984 meets Call of Cthulhu meets Hot Fuzz.
Oh,
meets Red Dwarf.
Oh my god!
That does sound fun, doesn't it, man?
Oh, doesn't that sound wild, Irate?
Yeah, it does.
What are you doing this upcoming week?
Who, moi?
Yeah.
You.
Oh yeah, hot takes. Me and Big Fat Brian are going to look at this new thing that just dropped on fucking Netflix. It's called Hold the Dark, and it's the main star is Alexander Skarsgård and Jeffrey. I can't remember the black dude that's on Westworld. Man, he's been on just about everything. He's a great actor, and then Lisa Marie Presley's daughter. And I can't remember her name right now, but and it's about Inuit mysticism and murder. And is it a monster movie? Is it real? Is it? It's fascinating, and it's the kind of movie that I want to watch at least 2 more times before we talk about it.
What's it called again?
It's called Hold the Dark.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. It's all about Alaska. As you can tell, it reminds me of The Terror. If you were lucky enough to catch that 10-part show about the ship, The Terror, they were looking for a way across what they thought was Canada through the waterways, so they could instead of going around
the Northwest Passage.
Exactly, they were exactly what they were looking for, and one of the ship's name is The Terror. And that's fantastic too. That was on AMC, but it's in that realm, very mystical, Inuit mysticism. Yeah, it's wild, dude.
Sounds great.
Friday, of course, Cream Stream with the Cream Team.
See if I can get more racist again.
And, Sunday Makeup by Brooke is going to be the guest on Canadian Thanksgiving.
She's so sweet.
She's a doll, so she's it's going to be fantastic. She's new and very, very interesting. So she qualifies.
Isn't Canadian Thanksgiving Day also known as I'm Sorry Day?
It's every day.
It's something that's like I could be mean and say I think it's we really wish we were Americans Day, but.
Yeah, I was gonna say I thought I'm Sorry Day was every day, but okay. Or is that just with Trudeau in office?
God, he's a mess.
I feel so bad for Canada right now.
Oh man!
And of course, Irate Monday will be next week.
Yeah, exactly. That's and we've just introduced the Blind Side, which is a segment that Blind Press is pretty much taking control of, and of course we've got the Q spot. And then we've been looking at some pretty hard stuff and some good solid news. I'm very happy. It's just enough news and it's just enough commentary. It's a lot like this is kind of a more mellow thing. You know what I'm saying? Whereas it's like I kind of the idea behind Irate Monday is to kind of present it like it's not necessarily the real news, but kind of just for people. I don't know. I'm trying to package it in a
more informative.
A and B, a little more formal. That's the word I was looking for. Yeah. So and it's working.
It's good stuff.
I'm tickled with it.
Well, and of course, everyone. I am hoping to have the lovely Atima the Hun reading Ren and Modern Medusa here with me on Thursday at 1 p.m. Central Time. We are going to sit down for a special edition of Front Porch Talk and talk about the Listen and Believe movement, along with several key factors about all of the Me Too and modern feminist push. That'll be a special 1 hour Front Porch Talk. Also, don't forget, I am picking back up on my daily videos, and I hope to have one in the morning for everybody. And there's also the social media links. Please make sure you go out there, scour the internet, find all of us, and follow us, because, you know, we do other content besides this stream.
Also, I'm not that fucking hard to find.
Oh, no, you definitely are not. And with the dankness of your memes, I'm surprised you're still on Twitter.
Where's the lie, though? I don't know how I'm still there.
Also, throughout the week, you'll find me popping up. I forgot to mention this, and I always do, and I don't know why, because he's got a huge channel, and I should really plug him so he can get bigger. Well, compared to me, he's got a huge channel. Mad Dodge Productions. You guys might know him as Mad Libertarian. I pop up on his streams all the time. I absolutely adore working with his group. It's fun to argue and debate, and we have a pretty diverse set of minds, mostly center right to libertarian and to conservative in the spectrum. There are a few liberals, but it's a really fun crowd.
The spectrum.
The spectrum.
We're a little tizzed out too. It's tizzed out libertarianism.
It's kind of fitting though for our current political paradigm, isn't it? Though it's kind of like a tism spectrum, you know.
Liberalism, the libertism party.
We got the libertism party.
The Mad Dogs dude, if I can be on, he was just pissing off MC with certain arguments just to see how much he would scream. It was great. Screaming at me, it's just like
it's fun. He's good people to debate with, yeah.
Hit me up the next time you pop over there.
I will.
All right.
Oh,
cool.
We have a good time.
Well, and I think we're going to call that a wrap for the night.
Oh, yeah.
So, everybody, thank you again for coming out, and we hope to see y'all again next week on Front Porch Talk.
Same bad time.
Remember, only put it in her butt if she says please.